Good morning, class, and welcome to Module 6, Strength, Muscular and Strength Endurance. Just wanted to apologize regarding my lack of videos the last couple weeks. I was dealing with an upper respiratory infection, couldn't go maybe 2 or 3 minutes without coughing, and then tried to teach through it and at my school and ended up coming down with a case of laryngitis. So do want to apologize for my lack of videos. However, here I am. I'm sure you all miss my smiling face. So here we go this week. Again, this week's not going to be a very intense week in terms of the book work, but nonetheless, something that I really want you to kind of focus on, as this is something that we go over quite closely. I could spend a very significant amount of time on the musculoskeletal system, as this is kind of my bread and butter territory, being an athletic trainer, but I won't bore you with all those things. The biggest thing I want you to take from this chapter is a couple things. Number one, understand the different types of muscles, slow twitch and fast twitch, understand what each of them do. And I also want you to understand really the difference between endurance and muscle strength. All right. So when we look at endurance, we look at the number of sets a person does and the number of reps within the sets or repetitions. Okay. So a repetition is the number of times an exercise is performed during one set. A set is a culmination or a doing multiple repetitions. So for instance, 3 sets of 10 exercises, or maybe 3 sets of 20 exercises. Again, depending on what your focus is. So the thing I want you to take out of this the most is, what is the main difference between strength endurance and muscle strength? Okay, so that's the biggest thing that I want you to work on. And what is the difference between muscle strength and muscle endurance? All right, so one of the things that I want you to focus on is when we look at muscle strength. All right, muscle strength is very easy. It's the amount of stress that a body that is put on the body that the body can still move with. All right, so if we're doing a strength workout, our strength workout is going to consist of low repetitions and high weights. All right, so if we're looking at strength, low repetitions, high weights. If we're looking at strength endurance, it's going to be the opposite. We're going to do very high repetitions with very lower weights, much lower weights. Sometimes you'll hear strength endurance referred to as tone. I just want to tone my body. Those are the main differences in terms of, and then really that's all I really need you to know in terms of how are the two different in terms of their terminology used. Okay, so for instance, if we're going to do an endurance, we might do 3 sets of 10. If we're going to do a strength workout, we might do, say, 3 sets of 10. However, if we're going to do an endurance workout, we're going to do 3 sets of 20. All right, so that's something important to remember. One other thing we need to remember about our body is that our body has the ability to adapt. So our body will adapt to the stresses that are put on it. So let's say we bench press a 100 pounds. All right. And to start with that bench press, we might do 3 sets of, 3 sets of 8 to kind of get strong, or maybe, depending on if you work out regularly, maybe 100 pounds might be an endurance workout for you. So let's say we start with 100 pounds. Eventually that workout is going to get easier. So in order to keep up our heart rate, we will need to increase the weight. All right. So our body will adapt to what we put, to the stresses that are put on it. It's also called the principle of adaptation. And that works both with muscle strength and muscle endurance workouts. Eventually, we're going to get tired of doing, 30 or 40 reps of one activity. So, maybe we go from an 8-pound weight to a 10-pound weight. So we do 10 pounds of 3 sets of 20 of whatever we might be doing, be it a bicep curl, be it arm raises, be it shoulder press, maybe lunges, if we're going to do lunges with weights or something like that, so we can, so the nice thing is, though, our body will adapt to what we need it to do in order for us to continue to work out. I'm sure those of you that have run, that run on a consistent basis, or maybe do some type of workout, or swim, or bicycle, or do something like that, you'll notice you're needing to either increase the intensity of your workout or the length of your workout in order to have the same results, or at least hopefully you are experiencing that. Okay. When we look at our muscles, it's important to understand how our muscles contract. Our muscles contract in 3 different ways. Okay. So our muscles contract in a concentric manner. If you look on page 101 of your book, it will explain to you the 3 different ways of which a muscle contracts. So our muscle contracts in what's called a concentric way, or an actual contraction. Okay, so that means we have the weight in our hand, and if we're doing a bicep curl, our bicep is actually shortening or contracting. Okay, so we can actually move the weight through the motion. All right. One way that we're not normally used to working out is what is called an eccentric contraction. Okay, and what that means is that the force that we have is actually stronger than our muscle can work out with. So let's say you have that 10-pound dumbbell, and you can do that very easily. Let's say we would take that 10-pound dumbbell and replace it with a 50-pound dumbbell. Okay, so you might still be contracting that bicep as hard as you can, but your muscle might still be elongating. All right, that's actually there are some benefits to that. The one benefit is you will gain strength faster in an eccentric workout. However, you will also become more sore in an eccentric workout. The other way that our muscle contracts that we that is probably something you never really thought about is when our muscle is actually contracting, but the arm doesn't change position. Okay, so for instance, you're pushing against a wall. Hopefully you can't push the wall over. That is called an isometric contraction. So an isometric contraction is when we are putting force on the muscle, but the muscle is not actually moving. All right, so those are 3 ways that we can look at a muscle contraction. Concentric means that muscle is actually contracting or shortening. An eccentric contraction, the muscle is contracting but is actually elongating through the contraction. And an isometric contraction, where the muscle is actually contracting but the body part is not moving. All right, so those are 3 ways that I want you to understand about that. Also, as always, please make sure that you understand how to work both a strength endurance and a muscle strength workout into the FIT principle. That is something that you may see down the road as well as we're moving forward. As you're working on your assignments for this week, especially your discussion, there are a lot of really neat activities in the back of the book. I know that the discussion this week has you doing a home exercise program using only things around your house. So the nice thing about the body part, the chart in the back, is it tells you what muscle group you're working, as to not overwork a certain group, and it gives you ideas as to what that workout can be. So you're more than welcome to use that as a guide to kind of help fashion your workouts. Okay, guys, you're doing a great job on the discussions. I'm really happy with the work you guys are producing. I'm still finishing up your writing assignments. I hope to have them finished by Sunday night. So you will have those grades in your grade portal, hopefully by next Monday morning, the 10th or the 9th, the 9th. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to me and email me. Just a reminder that I will be having office hours Thursday evening from 9 to 9:30 via Google Hangout. Please make sure that you are logged into your Google account through your Hack portal in order for your Hack email to show up. Open up your Google Hangouts, type in my email address, and we can chat if you need to. All right, have a great day, guys. Keep up the good work. We're almost halfway there, and you guys are really plugging along, and I like that. All right, take care, and I'll talk to you soon.